Hey guys, welcome to today's YouTube video. If you're new here, my name is Allie, and today's video is going to be my natural glowy everyday makeup paired with a fall lip look. So this fall lip is going to be very neutral. It's not going to be too dark. I feel like it's perfect for everyday wear, running errands. So let's get into the video. So first I'm going to start with my Revision Skincare Youthful Lip Replenisher. So I'm just going to put this on. That way it can hydrate my lips while I'm doing my makeup before I put on any lip products or any lipstick at the end. I feel like it's always good to have a very nourished and hydrated lip before you put on a lipstick. That way everything just goes on very smooth and it doesn't look like cracky or thick or anything. For my foundation, I'm gonna use my Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and this one is in the color Warm Beige. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on my makeup brush. This brush is from Sephora. It's the number 6 multi-usage base brush. And I like to just put maybe like 1.5 pumps on my brush, and I'll just spread it all over my face and blend. And I do really like to use a beauty sponge, but I find that the brushes just work a lot quicker. So usually if I'm just gonna run errands, or just do kind of a daily makeup, I will use a brush. And then if I'm doing anything like going to dinner with friends, or if I have like an event or anything, so like for my sister's wedding or my friend's wedding, I used a beauty blender. But I'm just gonna blend it with my brush. And then lately I've been going in with my Merit foundation stick, and I've been using this kind of like a concealer instead of using an actual concealer. So I'm gonna do a little bit under my eyes to hide my dark circles, because I have not been sleeping well ever since getting back from Europe. I feel like I've been sleeping very bad, and I think I fell asleep the last 2 nights at like 8 p.m. and then went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, and couldn't really fall back asleep for probably like an hour or so. So I got to cover up those dark circles. But I'm just going to blend those products together and into my face like that. And now I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and this brush is Real Technique brush. I like to use this in my T-zone, and I feel like it's a little bit more precise than just like a huge fluffy powder brush. So I like to use this especially under my eyes. I wear contacts, and so sometimes I find that if I use the big fluffy brushes, it will get on my eyelashes and then it kind of falls into my contacts. So I like this a little bit more precise type brush for my powder. But I'm just gonna do my T-zone and anywhere that I applied that foundation stick, just to set it in place. Now I'm gonna go in with my Hoola Benefit bronzer. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the brush that it comes with, and I'm gonna do a little bit on my cheekbones. And I'm really gonna start the bronzer kind of a little bit higher up and then move that product up. That way it lifts your face. So I'm just gonna start blending, and with bronzer it's really important to blend. So I think the secret of makeup in general is spend time blending the products, because you don't want any harsh lines, and I think blending just makes a huge difference on how your makeup turns out in the end. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna put it also on my hairline just to give me a little bit more bronzy look. My hair is getting in the way. So I just like to do my hairline, my cheekbones, and then I'll do just a little bit on my nose. I don't do too much, but just enough to make it a little bit more like bronzed and contoured, and then I'll do just a little bit on my jawline, under my chin. That way it gives kind of a nice shadow and it makes your jawline look a little bit more snatched. So just like that. Sometimes I'll use like a big fluffy brush also to kind of blend it more upwards, but for today I'm just gonna use the brush that the Hoola Benefit comes with. So just like that. My next product I'm going to use is the Tarte blush. This one is in the shade Party, and I'm just going to do a little bit on my cheeks. And same thing, I'm going to put it on my cheekbones, just do a little bit on the cheekbones, and then I'm going to really work that product up. That way it really lifts your face. So I feel like if you apply your products kind of in the more upward direction, that's really going to just altogether lift your face. So I like to do that. I don't like to concentrate my blush too far in. I think that if you start a little bit higher up, you can always work your way up, and then if you want, you can always add more in. But if you start too far in, the product is already there, so there's no way to get rid of it after you apply it. So the next product I'm going to use is actually a blush, but I've been using it as a highlighter. So it's the MAC Lovejoy blush, and it's super pretty. It has kind of like a pinky rosy tint, and then there's some sparkles in it as well. And so it looks like maybe like a gold type of hue. So I just do a little bit on my blush, and I just apply it same place that you apply your highlighter. But I feel like this is kind of a fun, just kind of double usage product. And so you can use it as your blush and then also as your highlighter if you want. But I'm just gonna do a little bit on my cheekbones, and then I like to do a little bit on my nose, bridge of my nose, and then just a little bit on my upper lip. And for my brows, I'm gonna be using the Ulta Beauty Collection Brow Duo. And I actually just bought this a few weeks ago, and I've been using it ever since, and I really like it. I feel like it's super quick and easy. I just go in with this Morphe brow brush. This is the M402. So I like to just go in with this. It makes it super quick and easy versus like an eyebrow pencil. I find that it takes a little bit more time and a little bit more precision. And with this powder, I feel like you don't have to be as exact. So this brow product comes in 2 different shades. So I'm gonna go in with the dark shade first. And I actually mostly use the dark shade. Sometimes I'll go in with the lighter shade for a little bit of the inner side. But I find that if you do the dark color and you do a little bit more product on the outside, or if you press a little bit harder or lighter, that can also adjust how dark the product goes on. So I just do a little bit of that dark, and then I start going with my natural brow. And I just like to fill it in enough so you can see my brows a little bit more. So now I'm gonna go in with the lighter shade, and I'm gonna just focus a little bit more on the inside and then start to blend the 2 colors together. I've been really wanting to try getting my brows laminated. So if you guys have tried it, or if you really like brow lamination, then let me know in the comments, because I think I might try it out in the next few weeks. I feel like it would be really nice to have your brows lifted and then also just look a lot more full on a day-to-day basis. That way you don't have to necessarily fill in your brows as much, or maybe even at all. All right, so now I'm gonna put on the Ulta Beauty Brow Lift Laminating Gel on my brows. And I also got this just a few weeks ago, and I like it so far. It's not my favorite. I think I might try to get one from Sephora. I really want to try the Refi one, so I might do that. But I find that this one doesn't lift my brows as much as I thought it would. It says it's strong hold, but I still notice that the hairs of my inner brow kind of fall down. They don't actually hold up as well. So now for my eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Soft Glam Anastasia palette. And I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of the orange and a little bit of the brown first. just to give a nice base. So I'm just gonna put that all over my lid. And I wanna do a more neutral, not as pigmented nighttime look, just because it is the morning and I'm gonna be wearing this all throughout the day and running errands. So I don't want anything too dark, but I'm gonna just put that all over my lid. All right, and then now I'm gonna go in with just the smallest amount of this mulberry dark, kind of like purpley red color, and I'm just gonna do a little bit on my brush, tap the excess off, and I'm gonna start on the outside. I'm gonna focus the product here, and I'm just gonna start to move that product and blend it inward. I find that eyeshadow, it's really important to not put too much pressure on your brush, because that's gonna kind of apply the whole product in one area. So just lightly press your blush on your upper lid and just blend it inward. And like I said before, I feel like blending is so important with makeup, especially with your eyes. So you don't want any product where you can see the transition of like the dark color, lighter color, and then maybe like sparkle or something. You want it to really just blend in nicely and have a very subtle transition. So same thing on this side, I'm gonna focus on the outside and then slowly bring that product inward and just keep blending. So if you're a beginner with makeup, just really take your time blending. It can take a little bit longer than when you become more familiar and more experienced with eyeshadow, but just take your time, don't get frustrated. It's gonna take practice, and believe it or not, when I was younger, I had the hardest time doing makeup and blending eyeshadow, and it was my sister that actually taught me. So just take your time and practice. You definitely will get better the more that you do it. So I'm just gonna do that. Very subtle eyeshadow, but it does give a nice little color. All right, then I'm gonna go in to the color Dreamer. So it's just a nice light pink shimmer, and I'm gonna go in with my Morphe JS11 brush, and I'm just gonna place it on the inner corners of my eyes and my eyelid. So just like that. Here we go. And then I'm gonna go in with the Dusty Rose and then that Mulberry color again. And I'm just gonna mix the two and put a tiny bit under my eyes. To finish off the eyes, I'm gonna go in with my Stila Stay All Day Liquid Eyeliner. And with eyeliner, I really like to start on the outside, make that sharp wing, and then bring it in about maybe 3/4 the way in, and then you can flip your hand and go from inward to outward to finish that line. So I'll kind of show you what I do. Just like that, and then I'll just do the same thing to my other eye. I find that the Stila liquid eyeliner is really good for that sharp wing. It has a very fine tip. I don't know if you can see, but it has a very fine tip. And then I find that liquid just spreads a lot easier and applies a lot easier than if you were using maybe like a crayon or an eyeliner pencil. So if you're looking to get a very sharp wing, then I would definitely recommend trying the Stila Stay All Day. I'm gonna go in with my Milani tubing mascara, and I'm just gonna apply this to my eyelashes. do my lips. So I'm gonna wipe off that lip product that I had put on before I started my makeup. So I'm gonna try this, is it Sachet? And then I'm gonna apply this peel off lip liner. I've only used this once a while ago, and so I wanted to try it again. It's a really pretty, kind of like dark raspberry color. I think I leave it on for 15 minutes or so, and then I'll peel it off. So I'm just gonna put it on. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll be back to peel it off and then apply the rest of my lip. All right, so it's been about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna peel off this lip stain and then I'll apply my other lip products to it. So I like to just start from the outer corner and peel it off. Oh wow, that's very, very dark. I do not remember it being that dark. Peel very well. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna wipe off kind of the excess and just get it a little bit cleaned up. That way when I apply my other lip product, there isn't some of that lip stain still peeling off. So that's what the lip stain looks like. It seems pretty natural. And I think you could probably put a gloss over it or a very sheer lip gloss, but I'm gonna go in with this, it's kind of like a thicker lip gloss. And I'll put the name of the brand on the screen. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but I'm just gonna do a little bit on it to give a little bit more brown fall color. Just like that. And then I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm gonna kind of blend at the lip line just so the lip stain and the lip gloss is mixed together. So this is the fall lip look with kind of like my everyday makeup. I feel like it's a very subtle and glowy makeup look, perfect for running errands, getting coffee, and so that is the final look. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.